Hello, blossoming speaker, and welcome to another conversation with me, your host, Susan. There's a moment I bet you had many times. I know I have. Here it is. You're looking at your situation, your career, your options, your week, and you think honestly and fully, there's just nothing here for me right now. No openings, no momentum, nothing worth reaching for. And you'd swear to it because it feels completely true. Now, me admitting that I've been there more times than I like to admit is a little uncomfortable to share in public. But it's important for me to do this because I want you to know that it is not an uncommon or unnatural feeling to experience. And for a long time, I believed the story that came with it, that I simply hadn't been given anything to work with, that the opportunities were not there for me. But here's the thing I eventually had to be honest with myself about, and it came into full conviction mode of this that I discovered in the last 6 years during my personal journey on formulating the Speak Afraid method. It was that there wasn't nothing there. It was because I was too afraid to actually look. I used to think fear of public speaking was a narrow thing, something that only showed up on stage in front of a microphone, under bright lights, or in front of your team in an important meeting. But the more I paid attention, the more I realized it shows up everywhere. In the interview you've been almost applying for, in the networking event you suddenly get too busy to attend, in the conversation with someone senior that you find every reason to postpone or walk the other way if you were about to bump into him in a corridor. All of those things are public speaking moments, whether we label them that way or not. And fear shows up in every one of them, quietly rearranging our schedule or our attention so we never have to face it directly. And this is the part that took me a while to see. Fear doesn't make you nervous in those moments. This is why it's harder to notice. It's because it changes what you are capable of noticing before the moment even arrives. When your mind is busy managing anxiety about being seen, being judged, or getting it wrong, it has very little processing power left over for actually scanning your surroundings for the opportunities that is possible for you. So the opportunity can be sitting right there, begging you for your attention. It could be an introduction someone's offering, a role someone's hinting at, an opportunity in a conversation to learn something different that will trigger a new trajectory in your life. And you look straight past it, not because you're careless, because your attention is already fully booked managing something else that fear is distracting you with. It's a tough thing to realize or acknowledge, I know, but I'm sharing it because it's important to be aware of this type of tactic fear uses to keep us in the comfort zone and rob us from these beautiful, wonderful opportunities that are waiting for us to step into and explore and get curious about. So when we say, I feel stuck, what we often mean underneath is, I'm too overwhelmed by what I'm afraid to notice what's actually available to me. Those are two very different sentences. The I feel stuck sentence says the world has nothing for you. The other says you've temporarily lost the capacity to search for those opportunities. And once you know which one you're actually dealing with, everything changes because you stop waiting for the world to hand you something new and you start clearing enough space in your mind and in your energy to notice what's already there for you. I don't think the answer here is to force yourself to be braver. I think that rarely works. And it's not that kind to yourself because it actually forces you to use a lot more energy. The answer is a little bit more smaller and quieter. It's simply pausing long enough to ask, is there really nothing here? Or have I stopped letting myself look properly? That's the one honest question that does more than any pep talk or forcing yourself to be brave. It is usually in this moment we keep ourselves so busy that we believe it's impossible to pause or rest long enough to ask ourselves if there really is nothing here or whether we've stopped look properly. Because fear also likes to keep us busy because it means we use the classic fear tool of avoidance, which is us avoiding us to ask that question. Because again, if you look at it, it's because we want to avoid, or fear is hoping that we avoid those opportunities waiting for us. It instead wants to make you feel stuck and that there's nothing there for you. You can do this alone. Plenty of people do. And it costs a lot more time and a lot more energy to get there. That was a bigger part of my learning journey on this particular lesson. Or you can do it with someone who's been there and walked this exact path already, who knows how to help you see past the noise a little faster and give you that confidence and the techniques to build in that rest and pause time in your regular day to day, and who can walk alongside you while you begin to build that muscle strength of noticing all the wonderful opportunities around you again. Either way, the opportunity you're looking for probably isn't missing. It's just currently hidden behind something a little louder than it is. Once you know that, you're already halfway to finding it.